Well, welcome aboard, my friends. We haven't been over here for a couple of weeks shooting, or I've been here, but you haven't been here. I had a couple of questions asked. One was from Ray Spackman. Ray was saying, "Is a longbow more stable than a flat bow?" And yes, Ray, a longbow is more stable. If we have a flat bow like this and we twist on it, this limb will start to twist, particularly in a modern recurve. If you start hauling it off to your face and holding it tight and twisting it, the upper limb will twist right here. It's the same as when people string a bow like that, and if they sometimes grip the bow limb and twist it, they start fighting it, they'll put a little twist in that recurve limb right here, and it'll never shoot straight again. But a longbow is a narrow, more rounded, like my finger, and it doesn't want to twist sideways because it's round. It will just come back. So, yeah, a longbow is more stable, and sometimes people say it's more forgiving, but it's harder to twist off the center line anyhow. So that's what I would say. Let's see. Oh yeah, and Mike Rasco, he was saying, is there any point in having string silencers on a target bow? Well, the only point is that they look neat. But the string silencer really is to take the vibration out of the string and make the stop going kind of a sound. And that helps if you're hunting. So as far as target shooting, it's not any help. And as a matter of fact, this weight on the string actually slows the string down. So your string bow with a silencer on it is going to shoot slower, right? So there's no advantage to it. It just looks great, and it's good if you're a hunter. And also, Gary Walker was saying that when his arrows come out, you can see that they have their nose down as they go. Instead of going like this, they're going like that. Well, what I think is going on, I'm quite sure, is that his nock is too low. So when the arrow goes forward so back here, it starts going straight. But as it gets up closer, the nock on the string is going to keep that nock on the arrow low, and it's going to come off and flick. When it flicks, the nose goes down and it starts going sideways like that. So I would just say, if you have a nose down problem, well, then all that you want to do is raise your nock up a little bit. That makes your bow go like that, and it will come off at the end. Okay? So those are a couple of questions. Anyhow, let's get set up and do a little bit of shooting. Less talking. Okay. Okay, my friends. Today we're just going to work on shooting. Relaxing those fingers. Who relaxes their fingers? I relax my fingers. It's a very important part. I'll just leave that there like that. That's good enough for me. Listen, guys. When I shoot, I'll just get rid of my bow and my arrow. I want you to realize that I push the tip on. You see? When I put it up and I'm right-handed, my tip is over there, so I push my tip on. Now, when my tip goes on, I do not bend my elbow anymore. I do not keep going like that. When my tip goes on, I leave it there. And the reason is, if I hold my arm out straight and push my arm, you see how my arm will go to my left? But if there's a bend in my elbow, see how my hand goes forward? It'll shoot forward. So I don't want a stiff elbow. It will do that. I want a slight bend in my elbow. And the amount of bend is only until it goes on. Okay, now that's how you get it on. The next thing I want to do is go to my anchor. Now, my anchor is this little spot on my jaw. So every day when I start, I find that spot and then I touch it a bunch of times. Then I know exactly where it is. It's not up there, it's not down there. It's exactly there. And if I'm not there, I better get there. So that's another thing. Push it until it's on. Draw until your finger comes back to your anchor. Now, my right arm is all relaxed. I'm here, and when I get here, I actually relax my upper body so that this balances the pressure between my front hand and my back hand. And when I balance it, my fingers, I will see my arrow go over there every time, right? I'm on. If I shoot now, I'll miss by an inch or two. But if I relax my fingers, my arrow will go over there. I do not correct the arrow with my arms. I correct it with my waist. I leave my arms pointing exactly there, and I simply swivel my waist like that. Just like cranking a cannon around so that the barrel points at the target. But I do it by relaxing my fingers, and the arrow goes off. I swivel back on. I relax my right arm the second time so it falls in behind, and I let go. And when I do that, I can shoot fairly straight. And again, when you do that, you'll start to get your hits. And that's with relaxing the fingers. It's not collapsing. It's relaxing the fingers so that the pressure points in a direction with relaxed hands, not hands with tension in them. When you do that, you start to get some hits. Okay, back in a minute. Okay, my friends, so I'm going to teach you something about finding the cant. Now, the cant usually is either vertical or 45 degrees if you're just picking a cant. But what I'm going to show you is how to always get your arrow straight no matter what your cant. For instance, if I stand exactly sideways to the target, feet side by side, and I look at the target, you see how my bow is fairly vertical. But watch what happens if I go from that position to an open stance and I move my foot out. Do you see how my bow has canted, but the arrow is still pointing at the target? Now, if I am over there like that and I move my foot even farther, you see how the cant went down and my head went over? But the arrow is still straight. So there's a variety of foot positions and cant angles to keep that arrow straight. I aim my arrow. It's not just, oh, I feel it and it just goes there. I aim it. And to aim it, I can aim it off to the side or down from here. We've done all those things. But to aim it, the best consistent way is to have an anchor and get your eye over it. So if I want to cant again, if I take my foot and step back over to my left, watch what happens. See how the cant came down? If I step over farther, see how the cant comes down? See if I bring my feet together, it comes up. See if I go the other way, it goes down again. Okay? So if you have your stance so that your feet are more open, you can expect a lower cant. If you have your feet more perpendicular to the target, then your cant will be more vertical. And of course, if you step the other way, it will come down again. So What we're after is getting that arrow straight and under our eye, more than thinking, oh, I have to cant this way or that way or this. It just depends on where your feet are. If you're using the straight arrow technique, it's going to line up. Anyhow, that's what I had to say about that. So that's how you can find your cant. Okay? Okay, back in a minute. Okay, so, guys, it's all about removing the tension and the torquing in your body. That's how you get to shoot straight. And I find that I'm really relaxing my right hand quite a bit. And I call it the relaxed swivel. I made a movie on it, I don't know, a year or so ago, a couple years ago probably, when I first was showing you this kind of stuff. We call it the relaxed swivel. Okay, so there's 3 shots there. So, look, I am going to show you again. When I put the arrow up, it's over there. I push forward until it goes straight. Now I draw, and I draw until I get my anchor back here. I relax my fingers, and when I do, my arrow goes over to the right. So I now swivel it back on, because there's no tension in my hands now. I've relaxed. Relax the right arm again and let go. And that's the basic thing that I'm doing. And, here I was shooting, and you'll see that the group is much tighter. So that's what we're doing. Removing the tension by relaxing the fingers of the right hand until the arrow goes off to the right, and then just holding it there and swiveling back on. Okay, talk to you later. Well, my friends, welcome aboard. There's been a great battle at the mouth of the Nyssa River. Let me tell you about it. This battle was between King Harald Hardrada, the hard ruler, and Sven, and his best man, Finn, the great archer. Hakon was on Harald's side, a great general. Harald had 300 ships. Every ship, 30 to 50 men. When Harald arrived at the mouth of the Nyssa River, he had twice as many ships, but he sent half of his army home. They were conscripts. They were farmers. And Sven was nowhere to be found. So Harald sent them away. And after he did, Sven showed up with twice as many men, and Finn, his partner, on his side. Harald knew that the Norwegians were a better trained army, so he lashed his center ships together so that they would have a fighting platform, and he left Hakon on the flanks and not lashed so that he could move. When Sven saw this, he lashed his ships together, and the 2 flotillas advanced upon each other. Finn started to fire the arrows into Harald's army. Finn was a great archer. Arrows were going back and forth, twinkling through the sky. Then Harald closed, got his ships up against Sven's ships, and the battle raged into the night. it was getting very dark. Harold saw that Sven outnumbered him by twice as many men, and in attrition, it meant that he was going to lose. But Harold is a very experienced soldier, and he tells Hakon to take his ships that are not lashed together and go down to the flank of Sven and outnumber them on the flank. And that's what he did, and they started to go down the row of ships. When the Sven and his army and Finn, they saw what was happening, they broke away, they retreated. A lot of them survived, though there was great casualties on both sides. Harold was not able to really mount an effective war after that because he had lost so many men. Though he won the battle, he was weakened. When he went back to Norway, Sven just moved back into Hedeby in those areas. It was a great battle. Yeah, a wonderful time. And that's what happened at the Battle of Nyssa. After the battle, Hakon captured Sven. But because they had fought together in England a few years before, Hakon let Sven go. Well, a few weeks later, Harold found out, the hard ruler found out, that Hakon had let his one-time ally go, though they were in opposition in this battle. Harold banished Hakon for his loyalty to Sven, even though Hakon had won the battle by flanking Sven. These are very intermixed affairs. Your ally one year could be your enemy the next. Greed reigned supreme. That's the battle. That was the battle.